So, welcome. We're here on session 3 out of 4. You're over halfway through. Yay!
Not sure if it's yay.
It is
Yes.
yay. It is yay.
We
Yeah.
make it hey, yay, anyhow.
It's yay.
So, I just spoke to Vashali because how the training is planned is that you have sort of your drafts ready by now. And maybe Renata, you are more close to it than Shirley is. Does it bring up a problem? Not at all. So what we had planned anyhow for this session is finalize, fine-tune everything for your talk. We will give you more space to work on it, to make it solidly you. But I add in what was planned anyhow, it's the tonality. So how do you work on tonality? Because for next week, we will ask you to record. And you might think, oh my goodness, that's such a long la la la. Yes, it is. We didn't say a perfect recording. We just said a recording. And you practice already with a recording for your pitch. So that's not a problem. If you want the best results out of it, you better stand up and record yourself standing. I won't force you to do it by heart, because I know if you're still working on a draft, and Vashali knows as well, it's nearly impossible to do it by heart. If you do parts by heart, great, even better. But if you have to have speaker notes or something, or just guiding keywords, or probably print it out big like I used to do, big flip overs and just write the whole thing out. You do have autocue, but don't do that, because that's really taking away the reality. Because then you're just reading like that. You can just have it on your computer. You're not engaging with the audience. So but just practicing tonality gestures to make it alive. So I promise you on the pitch ready, more in depth what you get here. So that's what we're going to do. And next week, if we just watch your video or you do it live, we'll just see what's most beneficial for you. I will go with you and talk also about engagement, where to look, all the stuff that Vashali shared as well. Whether you are online doing an event or offline event, just live with a live audience, have the two techniques just in the pockets. So when you're ready, you can be ready. Is that okay with you? Any questions, Shirley?
I have a problem with next Tuesday.
Okay.
I have a funeral, and it's my best friend. I don't think I'm going to be up for anything next Tuesday night. So I just want to be straight up with you that next week is not a great week for me. And I totally understand if you want to go ahead with Renata and leave me where I'm at, that's fine. But I just want to be clear, I won't be there on Tuesday. I'm really sorry, guys, I just can't. I didn't realize the date when we agreed to Tuesdays.
Shirley, stop.
Okay.
I really got that you can't make it next Tuesday, and you have a very valid reason, and I'm really sorry to hear about your friend. My suggestion would be that if everyone's okay, we can see if we can do another evening. If everyone's okay, and if it's not next week, it might have to be the week after, but I just want to check in with Nienke and Renata and see if that's okay, because it just doesn't seem reasonable to just have Renata and not have you there with us and finish together.
Just checking, can we just postpone 1 week and just have the last session on the 11th, so it gives you more space?
It's fabulous for me.
Yay. Okay,
Makes
great.
a massive difference.
Renata, can you do the same?
Yes, that would be great.
Okay.
You, Nienke and Vashali.
So, yeah, I'm fine. Vashali, are you?
Yeah, I'm good.
Guys, I really, really appreciate that.
It's great. Going to make sure you finish this course, Shirley, with a
yes, I know.
book. Not letting you get away with that.
Just to give you my friend died a year ago on next Tuesday, and they haven't had the funeral, and they've decided now they can't wait anymore. And so it's next Tuesday.
Yeah. So you all have in your email box the updated calendar invite for the 11th. So fine, tick box, no
Done.
worries.
Move on.
It gives you both a bit more breathing space.
True.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Yeah, perfect. Thank you.
And maybe just let me check. It's even better also for me because it's Memorial Day in the Netherlands on the 4th of May, and the whole country is 2 minutes silent at 8 o'clock, which is the starting time of this. And I always honor that. So all set, all great,
Thank
good.
you. Thanks, Renata.
Anything to share from the process so far? So let Vaishali be with you. How has your week been in drafting and writing and getting to the material?
Well, I felt like I really took all of the guidance that you shared last week to heart and felt like I was able to get much more written down. I just tried to write everything I could think of and then come back and try to cull pieces of it. I feel like it's a lot better, and I still feel like there's a little piece of it missing that I think that could really benefit it. But overall, I felt really good about the process of writing it, and I'm excited to go through it today just to continue to really mold the clay. And then also to update you, I did put in my application for an event in Frisco, which is north of here. But I will say that, we had practiced a 2-minute pitch and they wanted a 90-second one. So I had to cut.
But you kill your darlings.
Yeah, that's true. Exactly. Yes. And I tried to just talk faster, but then I was very cognizant of not like being a road runner with my mouth and, just talking incessantly. And I tried it like 3 different times and I couldn't get it lower than like 1:45. So I just had to cut something out, and hopefully it still is good. Hopefully I feel like the message is still there, even if like the statistics are not. I just felt like that was one of the things that could be removed without losing the integrity of the piece.
Good.
Renata, do you have it on video? Are you able to send it to us?
Yeah, let me write it down.
Should we watch it? Ninka, do we have time? Yeah,
Yeah.
it'd be great. I think maybe.
Do you have it on your computer?
I have a version here on my computer. I ended up doing it on my phone just because of space on my computer, but I can play a version that I did earlier today, but it wasn't short enough. Do you want me to play it now?
Yeah, you can share the screen if you want.
Okay, let me see. Okay, now I just need to find it. See, you can see I was working on it. TEDx.
I like apple nachos. I followed that and made them myself.
Yeah. Okay. So this is an older one because that was too long. This is one that was at 1:46, so it was a bit long.
Oh, it's good. It's good.
So if I play it, will you be able to hear it?
Let's give it a go.
Yeah, sometimes you have to click share computer sound.
Ooh, okay.
So if you just go back to unshare.
Okay.
And then share again.
Okay.
You find a space which you want to share.
Okay.
And then you see underneath it, share sound.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Good. Let me hit share. Oh, it says I can't. It says to share your computer audio, please install the Zoom audio device, and then restart your audio sharing application to share the sound.
Okay.
But I'll post it in the group.
Yeah, let's do so. Good. Good.
Yeah, if you can post a final one in the group, that'd be great.
Yeah. So I feel really good about the application, and one of the questions was, I think it wasn't exactly like why should they pick you, but it was like what else do we need to know about the speaker? And so I used if I was the last speaker, that if there was only one spot left, I think was the question. So I used the same content to answer that question.
Yeah. Do you mind posting it in the Pitch Ready group as well as a result?
Okay, yeah.
That would be fun for the others as well. Source of inspiration. I like that. I always like sources of inspiration.
Hmm.
Wasn't it about a role model?
Yeah. So yeah, I think that's my update.
Good, good. How about you, Shirley? You had quite a journey.
I did. I found it really tough. I found it, yeah, I just found the whole writing process quite tough because I really got lost again about what I should share, what I shouldn't share, how far, why am I doing this? What relevance does it have? Does anybody interested? Not really. Lots of people do this. I got
Oh, they
myself,
don't.
I got myself into a bit of a pickle of sort of like, oh no, what am I doing? This is crazy.
Is
So,
that true? So many people are doing this?
I don't know, but I suddenly thought, will people believe me? Am I, do you know, I don't know, does anyone have that? I became totally imposter syndrome.
Welcome to the club.
Yeah, I think we've all been there.
Is that my computer bouncing or someone else's?
I don't know.
Oh, I think it's mine. Sorry, let me just cancel it. Oh, where are you? So yeah, I found it difficult, and I kind of got lost, and then I think I pulled some of it together, but I didn't like the conclusions, and I would quite like to work with you on what you think works and what doesn't work. And thank you for the heads up on don't be put off by the amount of feedback. That was helpful.
Yeah, I know that. I nowadays I put it in because I had people after the amount of feedback like it's never going to be right. It's so much, but so I always put it in.
It was good. So
Yeah,
I just found it much more difficult because it's what do you bring in, what don't you bring in, and for me, I just always start to question myself.
for Charlie, can you help Shirley out?
I can. Okay, so I wasn't able to open your document, your third one, to see what you wrote.
Oh, okay.
But
Sorry.
no, that's okay. Nyanka said it was in a different format and she was able to translate
I
it.
just converted from Pages to Word. That's
Oh,
fine.
did I do it in Pages? Sorry.
Yeah,
That's
I
okay.
can't convert it for some reason on my laptop. Okay, so with all of that stuff going on, first of all, did you reach out to anyone?
No. Well, David, my husband. Yeah, I did it to him.
Yeah.
And he said to me, it was very stilted. He said,
Okay.
it's not you at all. It sounds wooden.
Okay.
Because I read it to him. And I said,
Yeah.
well, of course, I'm going to learn it before I deliver it. But he said, it's just, it doesn't sound like the way you speak. It sounds
It's
like
a written
something-
language, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And so hold on, I'm just like trying to gauge this now. Okay, so it doesn't sound like you. So are you trying to write this? I think like, are you being you when you're doing this, or are you in your mind trying to create something that you think other people want to hear or how it should be?
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would imagine that's where I'm going.
There's a bit of good girl syndrome in there as well.
Just make
And
sure it's okay.
pleasing others and
Probably.
being what you think other people want to hear, or deeply underneath it, what I hear is that, and I'm sorry if like I could be wrong, and you can just, I don't want to invalidate you, but I feel like you're invalidating your story and invalidating your experience, and actually there's a lot of gold in that experience and story. And like I said in last session, I was invalidating mine when I went through imposter syndrome, because I thought, why would same thing as you, Shirley, why would anyone want to listen to me? Who am I? I'm Vishali Patel. There's like millions of Vishali Patels in India. Trust me, everyone wants that name because it means rich, prosperous, and beautiful. You know, like all this stuff's going through my head. Like, so what? There's people that's been through worse types of abuse than me. What what is like my experience compared to everybody else's. And not even that, it was like, well, I don't have a degree in this, I don't have like I don't have any. So there were so many reasons as to why I shouldn't do this. And actually it is a mindset thing, and it is a validation of your own story thing as well, but no one can tell it like you. No one can do no one can tell your experience like you, and that's what is unique, and that is what makes your idea unique, and your experience is your expertise, because no one has done it like you, can do it like you, thought like you, or I mean, they might have had the same thought processes, but you know what I mean? It's
No,
just
I hear what you're saying, and if I stand up and speak at something, I have no problem speaking with no structure. But it's the structure which I know I need, and yeah, I can stand up and speak and just keep going. I have, you know, like if I have to stand up and make a speech, I often don't even write it down. I just
say it. Yeah.
And
So I have a
so there's something in the way there for me about writing it down that has me, you know, I always used, and when I was an introduction leader, I used to skim the corners. I used to learn all my shares off by heart, so I didn't have to write them down.
yeah.
As soon as I wrote them down, they became somebody else. And that's what David, when I read it to him on Sunday, he couldn't stop crying. He said it was really moving. And he said, but it's just doesn't flow. And I said, well, maybe that's because it's in sentences. And if once the sentences go away, it'll be fine. I don't know.
Yeah, you will go beyond script, as I say.
Yeah.
So it's first the structure, and when you feel comfortable with the language, you forget about the structure and you become what you say. And then you will see, you will tweak words, you will tweak sentences, you will just move things. I think that, but you have to, because it's time framed, and Renata experienced that with the pitch already, you know, it's 1 minute 45. No, it needs to be 90 seconds. You know? So you have to do it's time framed. So that's why it's important to have the thing all.
I have a suggestion. Two things. One, why don't we do a one-on-one session, and I can support you in creating this in writing.
Yep.
Because that's really clearly where I see that you need some support, and we can put it down in a structure that will support you. But also, when you put it down in a structure, you don't have to put it down exactly as you say. You might reel it off. It could be something that just bullet points, but they're things that will then, when you look at them, help you to like just know what you're going to talk about, and things like that. So you don't have to follow it script by like word for word, but they're just something. If you can kind of get your mind to believe that that is just bullet points to help you flow, maybe see if you can take that on as well. But we'll set up a session, and I can
great.
And I highly recommend still to keep to the 80 sentences, just to keep your time frame before you go into bullet points.
I printed it out for myself so that I could write notes today. Now I have a
perfect
pen. Yeah.
Just one question. What's the story about writing for you? What story do you make up about writing?
That I'm not very good at it.
Good. So you make, it's self-fulfilling prophecy. You don't need to go there. You can let go of the story.
Yeah.
You've never done this before, so you don't even have a story about it.
This is true.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you know, Han, if I'm asked so many times, when are you going to do a TED Talk? And then I think, what should I talk about? Yeah, nothing to share. So here I am. I have 1,000 things I can share. But if people really ask me on the spot, okay, but what's your topic? Listening. 1,000 TED Talks around listening. I don't know. So I get to the same place. So it's human, and still it's not necessary because you're the unique you. And what I said also in the feedback is you are really creating a path for parents in the same situation.
Okay.
And I don't know 1,000 or 200,000 TED Talks around this situation.
I wondered if what suddenly got me was the title. Felt suddenly like maybe I was preaching to people, you know, I'm doing so well, because it's not that's not necessarily the case. That's what, I don't know what it was. Something just got
Let
me.
Vashali be with you.
Yeah.
Can I say something about that quickly, Shirley? I think just catch yourself when you're making meanings out of things. Yeah. And it's hard because it's your own experience.
It's so close.
So much harder because we always think, you know, it's so, yeah, it's so personal that it's like, oh, if I say this, but just when you're aware of that, just catch yourself and just get that come at it from the audience, and then it's a different experience. Like,
you're only the vehicle.
There are women and men who are going through what you had gone through, or are, and what you're doing is going to help them. And I'm sure you turn to stories of other people that had been through or going through, and you sourced inspiration from that. So just like people will source inspiration from you sharing your story. So whenever you go into that space of, who am I to think that I can share this? You know, like whenever we think, oh, we're just like, just get that there's people out there that will draw inspiration from you and your journey.
I think it's similar what happened last week with Renata, when you said to her, that's so general, everybody's saying that. So Renata has been avoiding the real juice of what was really going on in her life, probably unconsciously for the same reason.
I think
it's vulnerable.
When you open yourself up to a TEDx talk, you're quite vulnerable for people to say, oh, you're useless, or what a bunch of rubbish, or, you know.
No one says that.
And I'm like, oh God, I'm a bit nervous, but maybe that's just my
I remember a woman I coached for TEDx Amsterdam Women, and she talked about the suicide of her sister and how that turned her life into a life where she set up a foundation in Nepal.
Wow.
And the whole journey, where she was a very, very well, her path was skyrocket high. American lawyer, Dutch woman, having a huge career in New York, but she came back, you know, because her sister committed suicide, and she turned everything around. It's a very powerful TED Talk, and she got a lot of compliments, press. Even did a documentary about her on television. And 1.5 years later, she got the first thumbs down. And she was so upset. So she reached out to me. And I said, well, you had no guarantee everybody would like it. But at least you touched someone so deeply that they took the effort to do something.
That's a good way of looking at it, Nienke.
But it's true.
Yeah, yeah.
So you will touch people, but not all for the good or the good now. And it's not your responsibility. You have to come for integrity and make it work.
Yeah.
And not the whole world will say, hi, embrace you, hug you, kiss you, and thumbs up. It's not always there.
I just want to add to that. I had people give me feedback on, I mean, mostly it's been very positive, but I've had people go, oh, you were really nervous at the start. Oh, and I'm like, these are people that have never done a TEDx talk. So really, like, sod off. I was thinking that, because really they haven't done one. Who are they to stand there and tell me what I was like and not like? If they got on the stage and did one, then I'll know what it's like. So
Okay.
there are going to be some people that are going to say things, but that's, you know, that it's coming from their own machinery, right?
I do know that.
Right.
And
So
it's
that's
true.
coming,
I need to remember that and not make it mean anything.
right.
Be who I
And
want to be.
some of them are going to be jealous. Some of them are going to be
Yep.
envious. Some of them are going to that's just the way they are, resigned and cynical. Some of them are going to be triggered. But most people are going to be very inspired, because they will either want to be on that stage and see you as an inspiration. Two, have been on that stage and will understand the journey that it took you to get on there and support you. And you'll get what you listen for. So
I think that's the key sentence. You get what you listen for as an audience.
All right. I can give it up.
great.
Yes, and it can pop up very unexpectedly at any time.
Yes,
And then you have this recording.
I do. To remind me of the safe environment. Come on. Okay.
The private group.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Nyanka, I have a few questions that I wanted to ask Renata
Good.
about her talk, if that's okay.
Yeah.
So Renata, I posted some things. I read your talk, and there's still something that I'm finding a disconnect in my mind. So I'm asking you, because then there might be, your audience might find that. So just to iron out some things, or maybe it needs to be made more clearer. So I hope you don't mind. But one of the things is, in your talk,
I want to pull it up and have a look straight away. Is
okay.
it, yeah. Yeah, is that okay?
Yeah, go
Because
ahead.
I prepped.
I have
them.
it up. Shall I
Yeah.
just share my screen?
Yeah, I've both. Yeah, you can share. You share.
Okay, thank you. I feel like it's a bit sensitive, that the point that I'm pulling on, so I'm just going to say that. But I do feel like I need to ask this question, because maybe it's just me that I'm not getting the connection,
Right.
and you can clarify that for me. But I think this first bit, 1 to 16, is great, very powerful. And then 1 to, okay, so here, number 6, you say, this idea of nourishing our bodies is deeply passionate for me, because I've been there. So yeah, brilliant. After I gave birth to my daughter, my body needed time to heal and recover, which makes complete sense. However, society pressures us into believing that women's bodies need to bounce back after having a baby. I really struggled with understanding why my body had not bounced back, while also trying to eat enough food to create breast milk for my daughter. So here, in those 3 points, I have 2 questions. And one is, what did bounce back look like for you? And secondly, what kind of foods were you eating? Were you eating foods that you thought you had to eat to bounce back? Or what kind of foods were you eating? Because later on, you make the point about connecting to the body to feel the kind of foods that are right for you. So I feel like if we can make a connection, and Nyanka and Shirley and Renata, if you think that I've missed the point, then just tell me. But I feel like, oh, okay, in your example, is there something where you weren't listening to your body, and therefore you were eating the kind of foods that you should read because they help you bounce back? Or yeah, something like that. Those are my questions.
No, these are great questions. And honestly, this is where I felt like there was something missing. And I think now I'm getting to the point where I've been so cognizant of the number of sentences. And that's been kind of it's been making me not write down everything, I guess, is one way to put it. But to answer your question, like in terms of bounce back, what that meant for me was like, why haven't I like immediately lost the weight that I'd put on while I was pregnant, right? So that's one thing. And then to answer your second,
Say
ahead.
something about that line. I think that sentence is such a more powerful sentence to hear than bouncing back. That's I really struggle with understanding, Lisa, why my body had not bounced back while also trying to eat enough food to create breast milk. But I find, and please take Nyanka and Shirley, please, if you.
Yeah, it's all about sentence 8. It's however society pressures us, because you go from what you do to pressures us, pressures you perhaps, to bounce back after having a baby, because it needs to be cause, you know, I have to be at my weight or normal, or my weight, have my waist back, or, you know, all the ridiculous kind of looking like a yummy mummy or something like that. You know?
Yummy mummy.
Yeah, but it's true, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is it more powerful, Nyanka, than if that was, however, I felt pressured by societal expectations,
or I was influenced by.
Yeah, societal conversations about losing the weight after having a baby, and being a yummy mummy, or having the great body. I feel like that's very vulnerable, and I could connect to that, even though I'm not a mum. I could be like, yeah, I would
Yeah, a bounce back is not a I could understand that very well, but you have to explain how the bounce back sounded for you.
Yeah, that's a great point.
And then,
and it's different for everybody, so it's really good to have it from you.
Yeah. There you go, Shirley.
Answered her own question.
And I wouldn't use bounce back twice.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then in number 9, I really struggle and said why my body had not come back. And I think there's something about what were you doing, Renata, food-wise? What were you doing?
Yeah. So I'm really grateful that you brought that up, because it made me remember, like, you know, as I kind of described, feeling so exhausted that I'm just reaching for any kind of food that is around, because I feel like that's like I should be eating something, like I need food to give me energy. So I'm just going to eat everything, like chips or, you know, bread, or, you know, not to necessarily demonize those things, but it's like anything within this arm's distance, I'm going to grab it and put it in my mouth, basically.
Well, can you say something like, you know, my brain told me to eat or to eat whatever is in my reach, just to can you bring it back for Shelley?
Oh, sorry. No, I am going to bring it back. I'm just trying to find where it is.
There it is. Yeah. Just this, make it visual, what your brain tells you to grab.
Okay.
I mean, can I add something here? When I was breastfeeding, I remember distinctly that we have health visitors in the UK who said, you can just eat anything while you're breastfeeding. And of course, if you're somebody who loves, you know, cake and all those things, it's like, oh, somebody professional told me I'm allowed to eat anything.
Yeah, have a lot of lager, brown lager, you know.
Ever. You know, but there was something about that being told by somebody that you could just scoff it all. And in your tiredness, it felt like I just need to eat to keep going, kind of thing, you know?
Yeah. I love that.
And then, does anyone have anything more about that point?
Well, add something like something like probably not the best solution or something like that, because then you go to the elephant part.
Mm.
Yeah, brilliant. I love number 12 when you said I felt like an elephant. It was it made me laugh.
Yeah,
I
and
did-
just great to have gestures with that
yeah.
Yeah.
in your talk.
And just so you know, like that was really how I felt. That's how I termed it, because I literally did see a photo of myself. I was wearing a gray like tank top. Like, you know, when you're breastfeeding, like they have those tops that you can like quickly pull up if you need
Oh,
to feed
yeah.
the baby. So it was one of those. And I saw a photo of me, and because of the gray, because of the look and everything, I looked like an elephant.
Mm.
You don't look, I promise you, anything less like an elephant you look like now. Mate,
They said to me in breastfeeding, because I was at the same point, and I had milk for I think 5 babies.
Yes, me too.
Just so I was breastfeeding, and one of my colleagues or someone came in and said, well, do they still have bras that fit you?
Oh my God.
oh my
Um,
God.
Looking like a
my
tank.
Oh, wow.
You know
a
what
thing
you
to
just
say.
said, Renata, about wearing this grey thing and that. I think that's a great line to replace number 13 with, because you say I felt like an elephant, and then you say I didn't understand why my body wasn't what I remembered. But I kind of feel like this line that you just said is so powerful. I could visualize you
Yeah.
standing there with this grey tank top on, and I don't know. I feel like that visually gets me more in your world.
Well, this is literally, I didn't understand. This is a brain kind of sentence, and you need a visual.
Mm.
So breast I never had before, hips I couldn't recognize, and a belly what even didn't look like I ever seen before, something like that. So
Yeah.
people can relate to bah, bah, bah everywhere because that's what women see.
I mean, that gives a really good insight into what it's like to be a mother post giving birth, I think, like just it helps me to get into your world. And I guess I'm struggling with getting into your world reading this. I'm not a mum. I haven't given birth. So for me now, when you're saying this, I'm like, oh my God, like how would I feel if I woke up tomorrow and my breasts were the size of, I mean, I think I'd probably be happy if they were the size of watermelons, but but my body had changed and stuff like that. Like it gets me to go, ooh, wow, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what you're leaving. That's what you want to leave the audience with.
And I will change then in 14. Why are the pounds still everywhere?
Mm.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then as we go further down, I think if you can just put in that line also that the grey tank top, and then we can work it out after if it needs to be in there or not, would be a good thing. Just
Yeah.
visually, it's quite powerful. And then you say, even though I'm exhausted, I walk over and pick up my daughter from her crib, which I can relate to. Like, okay, not relate to, but I can get into your world and go, gosh, you're feeling really crap about yourself because you've got all this weight. You're eating crap, so you can't shift the weight. So and now your daughter's crying, but you're so tired. And now you got to go over and pick her up. Okay, she's got full diaper. She's crying again. I can imagine like that. Where I get stopped is you say I lay her down and start to remove the diaper, only to see there's blood there, and I freeze. I don't know what I'm seeing, let alone what to do next. What would you do? What would you do when you see there's something wrong with your new baby, the one thing you are supposed to love and nurture beyond all else? So there's something there about this example for me. Like I get the concern, I get the tiredness and the exhaustion, I get the concern. What I'm struggling to connect is where you say, this was a defining moment for me, a red flag. I couldn't ignore it any longer. I had to do something different. So how does that relate to your body? That's where I'm sort of, because you talk about after that, that was a defining moment. It was a red flag. You have to do something different. What are your red flags? How do you know when
Right.
there's something off with your body? Don't wait for
Yeah.
blood. And it's because for me, it's that the blood is in the baby's diaper.
Mhm.
How is that connecting to your relationship to you to change your body? So that's
Right.
what's for me.
Right. And I feel like, oh, go ahead.
Yeah, and just one thing before we dive into this area is what, because we are talking also about the what area more up in the text. You have statistics, you have how you're doing it, what your situation is. What many women will consider is, although they're completely exhausted, they have to exercise more, and you don't have the energy. Is
Mhm.
that something to add?
Hmm.
What
Maybe.
else do I need to do? You know, is
Yeah.
it diet or baby? Is it exercise and tiredness, or what should I do? The confusion about the solution, because he is only exhausted, but also the external world will give you all kind of solutions. What people can relate can be just a phrase or two words. What else to do? Exercise, diet, or just new clothes? You know?
Hmm. Okay. Yeah, that gives me all kinds of ideas.
Yeah. But I'm already so exhausted from being a mother. And then you go into sentence 15. And I agree about the gap between you and the baby. So it's either you change the story or what triggered you, or have a quick solution that it is a digestion problem. And it's not only maybe you exhausted, but she having problems as well.
Right.
Yeah, if
So
we to hear what actually was there for you, because did you think, did her health make you think about your health? Like what was
yes.
it?
So that's what I'm getting to. So there's a piece of this story that's not there yet. And basically, what happened, so that you have the full picture and then we can kind of find ways to put it in here, is I took her to the pediatrician and he said that she might be allergic to something that I'm consuming because I'm obviously breastfeeding her. So he said, instead of
That's
sending
the
her
key.
to get allergy tested, I can try to reduce something out of my diet to see what is triggering her response. And so I removed dairy from my diet and then she got better. So it made me see that not only is what I'm putting into my body, one, affecting her, obviously that was like a big event, but also two, I started to see benefit within myself of changing that. So I didn't feel as exhausted. I didn't feel bloated or, GI issues or anything like that. And so that's what I feel like is missing from this, but I don't know how to put it in
Perfect.
here.
That is
That's the
it.
bridge.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say, was the impact of what you were eating what was causing her problem?
Yes,
And it was.
it
I would
was.
write it down. Don't worry
Okay.
about the sentences just yet. I would just
Okay.
write it down and then we can look at which ones to take out, because there's some things in here which when you repeat them, it doesn't like I think we can just take them out. Like, I had to do something different. What are your red flags? How do you know? So there's things that we can move around or take out, but because this story is more important, I think maybe 3 lines. I don't know, Bianca, you're much better than me.
Yeah, just weave it in, and we take the repetition out.
Yeah.
Okay. Got it.
I feel so much better now because I feel like it all connects now.
Yay!
Listening kind of now, there's something here that doesn't quite connect for me, and it's something quite I knew it was something profound and deep. I just couldn't, and I felt like that deepness was missing. And so when you said that at the beginning, I was like, okay, she's onto it too. And then now that you tell them, I'm like, wow, that's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
Can you
Brilliant.
scroll down a bit still, Fashali, so
Yeah.
I can just see, stop.
And with 41, with the steps, I was just wondering whether you might have examples. Like I shared in the Facebook group, when I noticed when I was younger, if I had cucumber or melon or raw onion, I would get a headache, and it was like just strong acidity in my stomach that I couldn't handle. And so my mum would tell me to swallow black peppercorns because that helps to reduce the acidity. So if you can give an example to any of these, it would be really powerful, I think. Don't know.
You studied a lot of this as well, isn't it, Renata?
Me? Yes.
Yeah. Put that in.
Oh, okay.
And there was something else. Maybe I suggested it for the. Oh, sorry, Nyanka. You still
It's okay. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. For the ending is pretty powerful too, and I just wondered whether a question back to the audience could work here, where it's sort of almost like you're getting them like, okay, right now, what do you want to eat? What do you feel like eating? And then, people are thinking, and then it could be like chocolate, or they want a glass of wine or whatever. And then you just say, all right, just want you to close your eyes, and I want you to tune into your body. And now ask your body, what do you want? What do you need? And then ask them.
Not what you need, not what you want, what you need.
What you need, yeah. And so the first one is what you want, and the second one is what you need, and see if there's a difference. And then you could say something like, if you did it properly, you might notice a difference, or you might not, I don't know. But it just getting them to engage with the.
Yeah, I would say something like, okay, if you can't feel it right yet, trust your body will tell you.
Yeah.
And I think you could put that in the ending somewhere, because there's some of these could come out.
Yeah, I love that. That's so good. And I particularly like the question because it really does get the audience back. It helps to close the loop.
My only concern is if they don't, and then you're ending with that, That's my concern, actually.
And that's why I say, if you can't feel it yet, it's to practice, because the body will tell you.
Yeah, that's correct.
Always.
Yeah.
I love that.
But put somewhere, that's what I was missing too, is your expertise. So you studied this a lot.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
I love where this is going. I feel like I'm finally getting it.
Yeah. Now I will go into tonality, Renata. Okay. So, Fashali, can you go to the beginning?
Yeah.
Do you remember I spoke about the punch and the stretch words?
Yes.
Yeah. So here, if you just see this, can you read 1 to 16 out loud?
Okay. Dear women, are you punishing your body? So many times I look around and I see women who are lost. They are punishing their bodies with dangerous or damaging diets, with starvation or social media's ill-advised eating plans. Think back. How many times have you started a diet only to find that you fell off the proverbial wagon a few days later? Maybe you felt guilty when you ate bad foods. Maybe you blamed yourself for not being disciplined enough to stay on your diet. So you try again, only for the same cycle to repeat itself, and repeat, and repeat. Many women come to me as a nutrition coach because they are stuck on this endless diet cycle, gaining weight and feeling frustrated. But most of all, they have lost hope. They do not know how they are going to lose weight, let alone feel good about their bodies. They do not have the energy to keep going. Do you know them? Could this be you?
Yeah. You do the punch and stretch quite well. So I just suggest, if you feel comfortable about the text, do the highlighting again of the punch and stretch words you really want to highlight. What is a technical writing good thing? It's a endangering or damaging diet. It's a triple.
Okay.
D. So it's really getting into a rhythm. What helps there? Strong words. Maybe you blamed yourself for being disciplined enough to stay on your diet. You try again for the same cycle to repeat itself and repeat and repeat. You must be feeling tired from just this is repeat. This is going around in circles. And then change tonality, because that is the tiredness. Many women come to me as a nutrition coach because they are stuck on this endless diet cycle, gaining weight, feeling frustrated. But most of all, they lost hope. You did it really well. They don't know how they are going to lose weight, let alone feel good about their bodies. They don't have the energy to keep going. Do you know them? Could this be you? Did you know 95% of the day? Can you see what I do? Pick it up, pick up the pace, because you really sort of get them there. And then you go to statistics. That's another energy, another vibe. And then not only this, the rate of obesity, diabetes, heart disease are rising, especially for women. In fact, heart disease is the leading cause of death in women, according to the Center of Disease Control. Heart disease is claimed even more than cancer. I think sentence 4, if you want to skip something, sentence 4 can be skipped, because you talk already about the use expansion of, you don't have to overdo it.
Okay.
But do you see what I'm doing? Do you hear what I'm doing? So if you go to the elephant picture, you really take them in a bit slower pace, just to make them feel you. And if you are in statistics, you really make it in a different pace. Did you ever do the counting exercise with me?
No.
So I will do that with you, and then we will go to Shirley's material. Yeah.
Okay.
So if you can stop sharing the screen for Shali.
Nien, can I ask a quick question? Would it be good to just hear Renata do a bit of it now, or do
not necessary? No. Because she really gets it, and I want you to get into the material first, Renata, because you do understand exactly what I mean with the punch and the stretch, and you have it already. So it's not really. I would say so if I feel it was needed. If you really want to engage with tonality, your audience, you can really do this heartfelt, I call it the heartfelt leader. So it's warm, it's open, and even with a gesture, it's come from the sternum, you open up, you move your arms flowy, you reach a hand. So this is really coming from the heart. So the shoulders are back. It's really, loving, warm Gaia. That's the heartfelt leader. As a warm voice, doesn't mean to have it slow, but engaging. So if you're really fast, they're engaging. So this is warm and embracing tonality. You've also leader of the troops, so they're more punching. They're real motivational speakers, so you can do it. Yeah, you can feel them. The Anthony Robbins of this world. You're really is leader of the troops. And it's picking up the pace. It's really engaging, motivation. So if I can do it, you can do it. It's really this, you know the style. I don't think I have to explain it a lot. And then you have this really the wise leader. And just think about this. How would that feel? Make them thoughtful. So from the heart, that can be in a more more picking up the pace. But if you really make them thoughtful, you can't rush them. And you can even put your hand in a gesture near your face, near your head. What would you think? It's a very natural gesture to do. So it can be more closing because you're coming to yourself. Just so it's harder with. You will see my belly. You will just do this. I'm thinking. So the heart is really, it's open from the sternum. Leader of the troops is a ta-da, put your lasso on and just get there, get them motivated. But the heartfelt leader is really open and embracing and warm, engaging, different variation of pace. Leader of the troop is really motivating. And the thinker is more internal. So now we're going to do that with counting. We vary those three. So you will both get a turn. And you will say in the variation of styles, just counting to, I will just give you an example. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, 8, and 9, 10, 11, but 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18, and 19, 20, and 21, and 22. That's 23 or 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, and 30. So
That was amazing.
it's harder than you think.
No, I know it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. But it's fun though. It's fun.
Hard.
We're losing you a bit, Renata.
Back now.
You're a bit frozen to us. It's a bit of a shock for the system. Yeah, you're back. Now you're back. We lost you a bit.
Okay, sorry about that.
It's fine. It's fine. It's the internet.
Or, wait, you told us to say thank you for your patience.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So who wants to start? And you don't have to count to 30, whatever. I don't mind. But I want you to feel the difference in what you can do.
You can go, Renata.
Darn, I was going to say the same to you.
I'll go. All right, I'll go. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, or 12. Is that enough?
How does it feel?
Well, it's you're conscious of making the different changes, actually.
Yeah.
And yeah, you can really feel the difference in what you're expecting from your audience.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think they, in the book, in the Speak Success Solution, they made little cartoons of me when I'm doing all with the glasses on. When I'm the leader of a heartfelt leader of the troops, and the wise leader or something like that. So
I don't know if I got the difference between the wise leader and the heartfelt.
The heartfelt leader can have a different in pace. The wise is always like you're internally reflecting.
Okay.
Mm.
And reflecting isn't often fast. But you can speak passionate from the heart. So it can be more to the reflective, wise leader side, or from the heart to the passionate, motivational part. That can be both sides.
Okay.
But it's how you decide you want to come across. And just fun. You
Yeah,
can
yeah.
do it with letters as well, but I find it more complicated in another language for me. So numbers are easier. Renata, give it a shot for fun.
Okay, I'll try it out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15.
You feel how the energy is shifting?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. Yeah.
Really good practice that actually.
Yeah.
In terms of
Gestures
shifting.
are crucial in making the shifts. So you did it naturally, sort of, particularly if you're standing in front of a mirror and you just did, you was, oh, you know, wonderful. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13, 14, 15, 17, 18, or 19 and 20. So you just do that. It helps you a lot.
Practice.
Yeah. Practice, practice, practice. So this is an extended version of punch and stretch with numbers and 3 variations. When I was trained, we had 5. That was more complicated and not always necessary. Yeah.
Oh, practice.
Practice, practice for fun. You know, on the toilet as well, whatever. Make it work.
I do it when I'm driving.
Yeah.
I do
Yeah.
a lot of driving because my commute is 2 hours. So it's in the car a lot. So I do a lot of that. That's how I learn anything. Record
Yes.
it and then practice it, listen, practice it.
Yeah. Yeah. So this is about tonality. Give the a fun shot. When you have your final draft, and surely we go to yours. If you have your final draft, I highly recommend to record it and do exactly what you described, Shirley. Talk with yourself. Listen and talk simultaneously with you. And there will come a point you know things by heart, and then you just tear the script and be the talk. And then you're not counting in sentences, you're not counting in anything. And you will see, you forget the sentence that don't matter. Your mind will skip them.
It's like you have to have the chapters and then you know which way you're going. Does that make, it's like almost like a roadmap, you know, you have to
Yes.
have the points.
Yeah.
And once
Yeah.
you know the points in your head, then you know which way
Yeah.
to travel.
Yeah. The different for a TED talk is because they're so keen on timing, you need to have in your cellular level the feeling of the timing.
Yeah.
And that's why I have these 80 sentences and lots, you know, surely you're not the only one. A lot of people freak out on it's a frame, it's 80 sentences and I can't, and they're going to negotiate about the length of the sentences.
Oh,
But
no.
you know, I can do 84 because I have 3 short in, yeah. No, I don't care. Honestly, I don't care.
I'm not interested in negotiating with you as a coach.
No, I know, but I'm
No
just,
chance. I know it's too short. I know I'm only at 70 and I know there's work to do. So
yeah, but this is just modeling and making things work.
cool.
For a real TED talk, it's important to get it in your cellular level, and then you know when you're running over time or when you're running short. So that's fine. So Shirley,
Shall I do
up to
mine?
yours. I will just share the screen.
Have you got number 3?
Yes.
Sorry, I forgot to convert it to Word.
I just go to internet, and internet knows everything.
Okay, here we
And
go.
they say convert from pages to docs. And
So
there it
I'm going to
goes.
read it because I don't know it.
Yep.
Okay. Let me sit up straight. Having a disabled child, sink or swim. When I was pregnant, one of my friends had a baby with Down syndrome. I remember turning to my husband and I said I could not cope with that. And he looked right back at me and said, you would if you had to. And we did have to cope. We had our own profoundly disabled child who's now 28. I didn't know I had it in me. And what I learned along the way is what I would like to share with you today. The rush to hospital, the weekly blue light ambulance runs, the doctors, the tubes, the oxygen, all scary, exhausting, and all new. I didn't know that there was a world inhabited by a few and unknown by the majority. Unless you are thrown into it, you probably would never know it was there. I faced a no return department for a child.
Stop here, Shirley.
Yep.
What makes it distance from you is that you say, for example, in sentence 6, I didn't know that it was a world. And then you make it into unless you are thrown and you probably would never know. So it's I and you in the same sentence.
Okay. So take out the you.
Yeah, or reframe it.
Okay. Reframe. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want me to reframe it now?
No,
Okay.
go ahead.
I really didn't know anything at all. The day I realized I was in for the long haul was the day I arrived at the accidents and emergency department to see the warm, smiling, and very familiar face of the doctor, no longer a stranger, but a friend, who lent me a $5 for a sandwich because he knew he would see me the following week to pay it back. I've learned to speak up for my son rather than being polite and follow orders. I've learned to fill in forms longer than...
Okay, stop.
Yep.
There's a gap between sentence 11 and 10 and 11.
Yeah.
Because here you speak about a warm and smiling familiar face of the doctor.
Yep.
Great. But it's nothing that you felt pushed inside and you had to speak up.
Okay.
So either use another example or we make a bridge. Like, and there was so much more to learn. Like speaking up for my son rather than being polite and following orders.
Yeah. Okay.
Have the how do you say it in English? How to be both vulnerable, brave, and strong. To cry like a baby and fight like a bear.
So maybe I'll take the forms out there because the forms are not relative there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Or have the stamina to fill in 1,000 forms.
But I think that could come later too. I think actually what I see is if I bring in the how to be vulnerable, brave, and strong, to cry like a baby and fight like a bear, comes into all standing up for him and that whole thing.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
Yeah.
That's really great. Yeah.
So it's, can you see it's in details, not in a lot?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Shall I carry on?
Yeah.
And I've learned to swim rather than sink.
Yeah.
I was so intent on having Oliver fit normality. We tried a nursery school where they wanted him to be like other children and sit for 30-minute story time. That was impossible. We then discovered that there was such a thing as a special needs school, which I didn't even know existed at the time. It was a lifeline. Suddenly, we had a head teacher and teachers who understood who he was and didn't fit a mold. It was like heaven. Oops, I think I'm on the. They rejoiced in the 30 seconds that Ollie could sit still for story time as a triumph, and each day reported on the further 30 seconds he'd managed until he reached the milestone of 3 minutes, and so on. And suddenly,
That's quite a bit long.
yeah, okay, no problem. Okay, so split it into 2 sentences.
Yeah, or what you say is they encouraged the small steps and saw them as a victory.
Okay.
Thrilled there he reached his milestone of 3 minutes listening.
I actually quite like it as it is, just a different opinion, because for me it's quite vivid.
Mm-hmm.
But I could also break it into 2 sentences, given I'm only up to 70.
Yeah, but don't go too harsh on yourself in sentences,
Okay.
because if I'm strict on a lot, every sentence what has "and" in it or more than 3 commas is probably 2 sentences.
Then I have lots of long ones.
I know.
Now looking at it, I can see I have a lot of long ones.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Suddenly there were other parents who understood. One night, out to dinner with 5 mothers from the school, sat around the table with our wine and talking about our children's seizures, protocols, and epilepsy medication, as others would talk about holiday. Now I can see that's way too long. Okay. I'm going to have to edit, because now I've got where I've maybe been going wrong. Too much detail.
Well, I would just frame it slightly different. I love it. Like, you know, our children's seizures and protocols, epilepsy medication. I love it. But you have 2 other children, and in the other groups they would talk about.
Okay. Holidays and clothes.
Latest children's fashion.
Okay.
Or even simple thing as first steps, or you know, these other first words, first steps, first whatever, as a contrast of the 2 worlds. And you've been facing the 2 worlds. That's the point.
Yeah, I can pull that out actually.
Just see.
Yeah. Okay.
But I liked a bit of contrast there.
Yeah, I
anyhow.
didn't think of putting in the contrast between having dinner with one group of parents and another, and how I to be honest with you, Nyanka, I hadn't seen that until this minute.
Mm-hmm.
No wonder I sometimes struggle to talk to people about small talk.
Yeah, it's
incredibly
difficult.
I'm not very good at dinner parties.
No.
Unless it's interesting.
Well, that's something to consider. Like small talk, or what others call small talk, became incredibly hard.
Yeah.
When you face life and death on a weekly basis.
Yeah. Gosh, that's a little bit of a light bulb moment.
Mm-hmm.
You know, sometimes we have those.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I remember standing in the car park of one of our other son's school one day when Oliver started having a seizure, and the children all gathered round because children are so curious, and the other mothers came hurrying over to shoo them away. And I said to them, don't. It's normal to be scared and to want to take them away, but let them watch and let's explain to them what's happening and give them understanding. I've gone off script, so that they can learn and understand rather than be frightened. And I explained gently and quietly about what was happening to a group of 5-year-olds and their parents.
I would take that in present tense, because here you tell a story about a story.
Okay. What, say that again. How do I do that? So I'm telling a story about what happened.
Yeah, yeah. So I remember standing in the car park
Yeah.
of our other son's school, and Oliver starts to have a seizure. Children gathered around because they're curious, but their mothers hurry to take them away, frightened. I knew I had to change something.
Okay.
So I say, don't. It's normal to be scared. So I end up explaining gently and quietly about what happens to a group of 5-year-olds and their parents. It might save someone's life one day.
Okay.
So I take out the description.
Yes, I understand. Yeah. The description of the story.
Yeah.
And just have it as a story.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. This is so great. Thank you.
27.
Yeah. Doing some research about having a disabled child, I was shocked to find that 84% of parents with disabled children separate. Having a disabled child comes with unexpected areas to deal with. We would have very quickly run out of funds to manage our son, his requirements and medications had it not been for the NHS. It's a jungle wading through forms, and each department, medical or social, has different forms. Each one can take weeks, it can take days, weeks, or even months to complete, and you have to repeat yourself many times.
You have to make sure that's about the forms.
Okay.
Or is it about the departments?
A bit of both.
Okay, just see how you can rephrase that. Is it something when you say about the 84% of the parents? I don't know if you come back to it. It could have been us to add.
Oh yes, definitely could have been us. I do come back to it later on, but maybe, yeah.
See it.
I wondered whether the forms are too detailed and whether it's not interesting enough.
Yeah.
And then I thought maybe I should just take the forms out. Who cares?
Well, it's a hassle.
Yeah, but I don't know that they're worth too many. I don't know if they're worth time, if I'm honest, now that I look at it.
Well, just see in the end what you feel.
Okay.
Yeah?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. And soon his world became normal for us.
I would like to have his name there. Oliver's world became normal to us.
World. Actually, I don't know why I refer to him as Oliver. He's never been Oliver. He's an Ollie through and through.
Ollie, name him Ollie.
I'll change it. He's an Ollie all the way through. I thought, and that's a perfect example of me being writing, because I think it sounds more serious than Ollie.
You're Ollie's mum.
Yeah, but I feel like Oliver's more profound.
I know. Yes. No.
Classic. That's exactly. Okay. We got used to carrying oxygen and suction everywhere. We're used to ambulances, hospitals, sleepless nights. This is repeating myself from earlier, isn't it?
So 33 can be out.
Out.
And it's totally natural to go on with 34.
Okay. Ollie is stuck at 2 years old. I can sing the Postman Pat theme tune if you'd like me to, and I know every train in the Thomas of Tank series. He isn't going to change. He will always be between 2 and 3 years old, even when he's 30 or 40. That's our reality. But over the years, it isn't, I've put it wasn't, it isn't just Ollie. Our other boys need us or needed us. You see, I've gone into past and present.
Here's okay to be in the past.
Okay, needed us. They were going places and it was hard to remember that they too needed our time and our nurture of them. They needed to know that life wasn't always about Ollie, that there was space for them. And it was hard to handle all those plates spinning in the air.
It's a bit double two here. Can you see that?
Yeah. Okay. Auntie, stop being annoying.
So I think you wanted them to feel that you were there for them too, period.
Feel for them to. So that 38 out.
Yep.
Is that what you're saying? 38 out. Okay. My husband, and this one I didn't know what to do because it was missing for me. It's very inauthentic and quite difficult to sort of phrase because he does us, my stepson doesn't speak to us. And it's quite, I find it quite emotional still. It's still a bit raw for me. But when I left it out, I felt that it was inauthentic. So I don't really know what to say.
How do you want to phrase it?
I don't know. And it's a bit too in depth to even try. But it feels like another loss and more grief for me is what it feels like. But I feel like
take it on a higher level.
Okay.
Did you lose other relationships for Ollie around Ollie as well? Friends, former friends? Does everyone, perhaps now, but in the past, did they accept Ollie? I lost friends about my autistic daughter. So how was it for you?
People accepted Ollie, but then later have rejected us.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
So if you take it to a higher level, accepting, for us as a family, accepting Ollie was one thing. But other people in our environment couldn't cope with it. And we lost friends and even family members around it.
Okay.
And you don't have to go in detail, but still what you want to say. And that feels as another loss.
Yeah.
More grief.
More grief. Okay.
Yeah?
Yeah, that's great. And yet I learned not to sweat the small stuff. If your child breaks a glass, so what? It's just a glass. I learned that it doesn't matter who takes the garbage out as long as one of you does, otherwise it stinks. My husband and I nearly got divorced. We fought, we raged at each other, and then realized why. We were angry at the world, and we realized it wasn't just about the two of us. Our relationship consisted of point scoring, winning and losing, which turned into a game rather than a life worth living. That's my favorite sentence. We needed to change that, to reevaluate how we went about our lives. And then I've gone back into relationships. So shall I scrap 48?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Conclusion. What I want to say to people, parents, couples, families, it's so easy to be angry in the face of thinking everything should be perfect and you are the only one. Life is perfect and not perfect. The influx of social media and the internet cause us to have an ideal that in turn causes us to be satisfied with what we have. When you're tired and drained, it's so easy to slip into shouting at your child to what you perceive as a wrongdoing, and yet it destroys their confidence and curiosity. It's easy to destroy your partner's self-esteem by undermining them as a parent or even a husband or wife. It's easy to lose friends along the way, too focused on surviving your life to nurture those relationships and then angry when they don't understand. So easy to judge families who are just trying to keep their head above water whilst sinking fast with the stresses and strains of daily living. How different it could all be, with kindness, understanding, patience, love, forgiveness, acceptance of what we have and don't have, joy, partnership, letting someone else support you, take care of you, or care for your child. That you're not alone in whatever you do in life. There are others around. Every person is dealing with something themselves, the good, the bad, and the unexpected. If I'd known the journey I was embarking when Ollie had his first seizure that snowy morning in November, I would have been terrified. And I had to learn to breathe all over again in a whole new way, to swim sometimes against the current, sometimes against the storm, all the time to remember to breathe, because if you don't, you'll sink, and life's about swimming.
For the last part,
Mm-hmm.
I would say somewhere between 32 and end. I would encourage you to have a look what are practical things what shifted for you. You name a few, like don't get the small stuff, the garbage. I love that. But tools were swimming tools. Make that more obvious that if you do this, you can get that.
Okay.
Just search for some examples, practical examples, how you do something different in communication, that you set other expectations, how you communicate like you instructed the mothers at school. Stuff like that can be really helpful.
I don't like the conclusion bit.
No, because that's your first draft in just trying to fill 80 sentences.
Yes.
So just be with it from the feedback from now, because I'm cautious about the time.
Yeah. Okay.
Do you have enough material to keep modeling and playing?
Oh, yeah. And it's good to speak it out loud and have you guys feedback, because now I have a sense of, and it's the first time I've really done it out loud apart from David. And actually now I can see that there's somewhere else I want to go. I can see what's a little bit of what's missing. So it's really helpful.
So please stay in touch with us over the week.
Yep.
Ask help, like Vaishali said.
Yes. Okay.
Have a session with her.
I will.
And if you need more guidance around the writing, just reach out. We are the four of us.
Okay. I will do. Thank you, guys.
Yeah. If you're ready enough, it would be incredibly helpful if you can record it somewhere end of the weekend. Okay. So we can have a look. So have the tonality, use gestures to make your story alive. Your hands support your vocal cords. So if you want to say something, it's big or it's small or it's reflective, or just play with it, because it makes it alive and it's easier to embody what you want to say.
Do you want to record it standing up?
Yes, please. And I don't want take 125.
What take?
At the most, take 3. And I don't care if it's 15 minutes, because it's stumbling and I don't know. I have to do it again. Oh, sorry. I'm used to that.
Okay.
Just give a flavor of what it can be, because then I can work with it.
Okay.
Yeah?
Cool.
And that's also okay for you? Vaishali, anything to add?
I know we've got a gap next week, but maybe somehow we can still utilize that time. So I don't want it to be just that we see your final thing the following week. Maybe you could send something, keep sending stuff.
Yeah, keep in touch.
Yeah.
Because then we don't lose momentum and still we create space.
Yeah, totally.
That's great. Thank you.
And Shirley, I'll reach out to you. The weekend's better to me.
Weekend's great for me.
Great.
Perfect.
Okay.
Such a great session. I really want to acknowledge you both, because Shirley, you've come a long way from not having time the first 2 weeks to going, okay, I've written it out, and then having doubts to where you are now, where you're like owning your
yeah, your relationship seems to have changed with your talk, and you're starting to see the gaps where you need to step forward or you need to reduce the lines and stuff, which is brilliant. You're really owning it, and it's such a heartfelt story. You know, I really got moved by it. So thank you. And Renata, just like, well done for filling in that, you know, like that little itch that you were like, oh, something's
Sorry.
missing, and you just connected it.
Sorry.
So what happened?
This was Kat. Just clawing into my best sofas
Oh,
where I have my coaching clients. She's never done it before. So I grabbed the best thing what was possible, and it was my TEDx notebook, and I threw it at her. So she had a bit of a shock. I didn't hit her, but now she's shocked. Good. Yes, you. You can be new, Kat, but you're not allowed to claw on that. Rah! Sorry. That was a live recorded interaction that I can lose my patience to with Kat. I'm just human after all.
that actually.
Okay, keep us posted.
Thank you so much, everybody. Thanks for your support.
You're very welcome. I will post tomorrow morning the recording. Yep.
Thank you.
Keep up speaking. All right.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.